Now, hii tutaangalia slide mbili, hapa zote ziko slide 21 lakini nataka tuangalia mbili na tuachane na hiyo, twende kitu kingine. Nataka tuangalie kitu inaitwa genetic correlation because it is also very important when you are breeding. When you are breeding, if you don't understand the correlations, you can end up messing even after doing very good selection. And when we talk about genetic correlation, we are talking about the relationship between one trait and another. And as you can see there, we are saying every trait is correlated to another trait. And this is very important when you are breeding. Now, if you are to look at what we are talking about correlation, for example, if you look at milk, so you remember when we were looking at milk, you need to ask yourself, who is a relative to milk? We normally say it's like a tug of war. Ni kama ila watu unaonanga wakivurutania kamba. Unafaa ujiulize, when I'm breeding for milk, relative wa milk ni nani? Na how are they related? Now, you can see when you are building for high milk production, it is negatively correlated to fertility, DPR, daughter pregnancy rate. So what it tells you, and this is a strong correlation. If you see a correlation of 0.34, it is a low positive correlation. It tells you as you breed more for milk, fertility will be going down. So you need to factor that and ask yourself, this bull, because it has this milk and this fertility indexes, and this other bull has got this milk and this fertility indexes, how do I balance? Naro mali njina correlation inakujia. It is I'm begging you to balance. You may see amburu kama hiyo nilikuambia, hiyo nilitumia pylon driver, very high in the milk but fertility kwa chini. So when you are mating, you then need to ask yourself, which cow do I mate? Because I know fertility and milk, it has very high milk but negatively correlated to fertility. So you mate in a high fertility what? Cow. So you must know that. Then look at the same relative ya milk. No, not milk. Look at under composite. If you want very, very, very nice unders, you are told it is negatively correlated to livability. It tells you that cows with very high under composites, they are likely to be current more than cows with average under composite. So it is unbalanced. It is a what? Balance. Now, because of time, we may not discuss much, but when we talk about correlations, correlations are in many forms. But I want you to look at the major ones. Just look at the major ones. We could have what we call positive correlations and negative what? Correlations. The thing you need to know when you are talking about correlation, the variable, if it is milk, the direction, and the strength of the relationship. Those three things you need to know them. If it is a variable like milk, then direction of correlation with the other trait ni gani, and how strongly are they? Because there are some that have got weak correlation, that hata ukichagua hujali ile ingine, because the relationship is weak. But where there are strong relationships, it's where you need to take caution. Tuko pamoja? So, I will not take you through many things, but just to summarize here so that also you stop at that point, but it will be food for lot. We are saying production traits have high correlation to what? Production, iko high correlation to production. That tells you, if you are looking at milk volume, fat and protein in terms of volume, they are positively correlated. If you push high volumes, you get more protein and fat. But percentage-wise, they are negatively correlated. So volume-wise, between milk and fat, they are positively correlated. But percentage-wise, they are negatively what? Correlated. So when you are breeding, you can say, I pick one production trait because it will pull in the other one. You understand what I mean? Naona kama nimeanza kuwachanganya. But ile kitu unasema ni nikivuruta moja na itakuja imevuruta ingine, hiyo ndio positive correlation. Lakini nikivuruta moja ile ingine itatoroka, hiyo ni negative correlation. And that's why we are seeing, when you remember our 3 buckets, the bucket of production, health and conformation. That is now what I want to summarize your mind, so that you don't go in each and every trait nataka hii na hii na hii na hii na hii. Because the more criteria you want to put for breeding, the less booze you get and the more complex your breeding plan becomes. So you need to set simple, realistic and to the point. If I want milk, nikileta milk itavuruta protein and fat. Ama if they want more protein and fat, nitachukua protein and fat na it will not also compromise production. Hiyo unajua nimemaliza. Now if you look at production traits, they have low correlation with healthy traits. The higher you push production, the lower you get to healthy traits. So you need to balance. If you look at production traits and conformation, they have no relationship. Production and conformation, no relationship. It is only that now it is going to affect health if the structure is not adapted to the environment. Hii correlation ndio ona tuachane nayo. Naona itatusumbua sana. If you look at conformation traits, we are saying conformation traits, they have a low positive correlation with conformation. Conformation kwa conformation. Conformation traits tulisema ni kama gani? Stature. So it tells you you don't need to select for everything. Because like now if you go and select using under-composite traits combined, it tells you if you select one trait under composite, yani ikiwa a composite, ukichukua hii composite moja italeta hizo zingine. So when I want to simplify your selection, you don't need to go to ati nataka ikue tall, nataka ikue strong, nataka all those. Enda kwa type trait, sema I'm picking this type trait, itavuruta hizo zingine izilete into the basket. You remember? So basically, I think this can be another topic for another day. Under composite, it has got a positive relationship with the structure, with the stature. So that means if you go selecting for very high under composite scores, it is going to push the stature up. If it pushes the stature up, what will happen to fit and legs? There won't be a problem. So you need to balance. Breeding is about balancing and knowing that relationship between one thing and the other. Hii correlation tuachie hapo ndio ona. Nadhani I just want you to go and jog your minds and read more about genetic correlation. Hiyo ni homework. Ndio ona wewe ndio tamaki. Watapita wote. Genetic correlation. Nadhani hiyo tutamalizia siku nyingine. Na ile ingine naambiwa niguze kidogo ni mambo ya fertility. Na fertility has got many things, na pia hii hatuwezi maliza, na pia nitaguza 1-2 things alafu kutoka hapo tuachie. Now, fertility. Why are we interested in fertility? It is because it will affect our breeding plan. If our cows are not fertile, hata tujaribu namna gani, genetic gain itakuwa chini. Because we said we want to shorten intercalving interval, and at the same time we want to shorten the generation interval. You cannot shorten generation interval if your cows are not coming on it. You cannot have superior genetics if your cows are not coming on it. So I want to approach it in a general manner because of time, and just to put it in a nutshell, that fertility is key. And just as we saw in genetics, I told you that traits with a heritability of below 0.1, you may not change them using genetics, but you change them using management. Fertility is one index that you need to manage through management. Much of it, genetics will assist you, but much of it you need to manage it through management. Now, and fertility is determined by 3 things. 1, number of inseminations per conception. Number of inseminations per conception. Do you calculate in your farms? Huwa mna calculate? Kuna moja anasema hiyo. I want us to be calculating. If we are not calculating, if you have done 20 examinations for this month, how many cows have conceived? For next month, how many cows have conceived? Then calculate how many pregnancies are you getting. Are you spending on average 3 straws to get a pregnancy? Are you spending 4? Are you spending 1? Are you spending 2? Number of inseminations per conception. So what you look at, how many inseminations do I have over a certain period, and how many conceptions do I have? I used 50 straws. I got 20 conceptions. What is my number of inseminations per conception? 50 divided by 20, 200, 2.5. 2.5 is the upper limit in the Kenyan environment. If you see your average is more than 2.5, then you have a fertility issue in your farm. Tunaelewana? If you see you are spending 3-4 straws per conception, you have a problem. So check, start checking if you have not been checking. Over a certain period, you can say 3-4 months. I want to see how many animals have been confirmed pregnant, and out of these animals, between that period, how much semen have we spent? Number of inseminations per conception. It will determine whether your hand is fertile or not, whether your farm is fertile or not. 2, calving interval. We normally say we need a calf per year. So, if we miss like 16 days, a cow has not come on it, we are almost moving out of the remedy for 1 calf per year. So, check your calving interval. If it is a problem, you need to fix that. Age at puberty. You remember I mentioned that? Mnakumbuka tukisema ndama? Age at puberty. If you see your cows are not 14, 15 months, you are going to 21, 22 months, and that thing, we want that age at puberty, the puberty, we want it to be both physiological and physical. You will rate the weight 60% of the body weight of the mature cow, that blind, and then you will rate it with the age at which she is now coming on it. If you expect that the Holsteins you have the 400 kilos, yule amezaa huyu, 60% of 400 kilos ni ngapi? To 40. Then she needs to come on it when you need to serve her when she is already above to 40. If it is 500 kilos, 300. So you need to serve her when she is above 300 kilos, 14 to 15 months. So that one will also determine whether you get score of fertility or not. Sasa mimi hiyo topic pia siendelei nayo. Nataka nisikie maswali ya fertility, nijibu 1-2, kutoka hapo tufunge. Kuna mtu alikuwa ameniuliza swali pale, sijui yeye alikuwa anasema ng'ombe yake inakuja regularly on it lakini ishiki. Ama maybe just we put our minds, what are some of the causes of failure to conceive or infertility? What are some of the causes ya kusema hapa kuna infertility? One ni nini ninaweza changia? Nutrition. Si hapo tuko pamoja? Yeah? Ama let me also put, hebu nisaidie kibao. Tumalize hii story mara moja. Tunasemanga fertility equals, ama ila tunaweza ita if we want a conception. What are some of the factors? Kuna animal factors times human factors times environmental factors times semen factors. Unaona hiyo question? Tumesema animal factors times human factors times environmental factors times semen factors. Now, in any question where you are dealing with a multiplication, if there is a 0 anywhere, what happens to that equation? It turns to be 0. That's what I wanted you to get. If animal factors upper there is a 0, animal factors we are talking about the nutrition, expression of it, blah blah blah. If there is a 0 here, the entire equation becomes a 0. If you are talking about the human factors, you personally observing the heat, we are talking about you and the inseminator putting semen in the right place, handling it the right way. If there is a 0 here in the human factors, the entire equation becomes a 0. Environmental factors, 2 what, 2 cold, 2 what. If it puts a 0, there is a what, the equation becomes a 0. Semen factors, handling, how it was stored, blah, blah, blah. If you put a 0 there, everything becomes a 0. So, that is what I want you to safeguard against. Know that it is, we normally call it fertility chain. And this chain, anywhere where you insert a 0, the entire thing becomes a what? A 0. So you need to look at that. So, just to answer hiyo swali huyo sikumbuki ni nani aliniuliza tukiwa chai hapa, nasema ng'ombe yake inakuja regularly on it, lakini akiserve haishiki. What could be the problem? 21 days, lakini akiserve haishiki. Inseminator, lakini sasa ameserve mara mingi na amebandilisha hata inseminator. Observation of the heat, that's also a good one. An infection, hii iko clear, mucus iko clear. Timing inaingiana na observation. Lakini yeye anasema anaiangalianga mpaka hata nini karibu apige magoti. Semen factor, lakini amebandilisha inseminator wa 4. Nutrition factor, that could be a factor. Hormonal imbalance, that could be a factor. The animal itself, that could be a factor. Stress, that could be a factor. Now, because of time, when you find a cow coming on it regularly, 18 to 21 days, or maybe leave alone even that, I can tell you 60% of cows that come on regular eat but they don't conceive, here they are either late or early ovulators. 25% they are anovulators. They don't ovulate. They will so eat but they will not. Then hii ingine inabaki sijui ni 15%, hatujui. Hatujui. Lakini 60% ya wale ng'ombe utaona wanakama on regular eat na washiki, they are either late or early ovulators. How do you solve case ya early or late ovulators? There are only 2 ways. Double insemination, akianza unaweka mbegu, akimaliza. Lakini kama utafanya double insemination, use the same bull. Usiweke ate phenomenon ya asubuhi alafu jioni unaweka around. Ikizaliwa hatutajua ni gani. Tunaelewana? So they are either early or late ovulators. So the way to solve that one is double insemination. 2 is through use of hormones. You inseminate and inject an hormone called cystoline. Sijui kama mnaweza kuwa na pack yake or anything that. If there is, we can see. So those are the only 2 ways of solving early or late ovulator. Oh yeah, good. Maybe you can just show them. The second road, anovulators. Wale wanaonyesha dalili lakini hawatoi nini? Mayai. They have only one route of solving that. Use of that is cystoline. So you can increase conception routinely, not necessarily if the animal is sick, especially when you are using sexed semen. You can increase conception by inseminating and injecting the hormone at the same time, because what that hormone will do, it is going to cause ovulation. And once you are sure there is ovulation and the semen is done the right thing, then you are sure there is fertilization. Merono. So even under routine, like in my farm, you cannot miss that hormone, especially when, because me, I use 100% sexed semen. unaweka sex semen na unaweka GnRH, cystorerin, hapo unajua at least you may increase your chances by 60%. So hiyo shinda yako, you either go double insemination ama insemination and hormone. I think leo mimi wacha nisimamie hapo tafadhali.